Is Tata the problem? Does he need to go?
No. In my opinion, no. Maybe you think differently based on what you were saying before, but he has done it with Miami in knockout tournaments. He won the first iteration of Leagues Cup, and he did a fantastic job with dealing with this team constantly having a rotated team. You could say what you want about them being able to bring in new players every single time, but to have to constantly rotate the lineup and the way you play because you just have different people playing every single game because people are constantly hurt or missing, that I think is a testament to what has been able to accomplish. I think he did a really good job with the regular season. I agree that he could have done better in knockouts, but I still think he did a really good job. He is a coach of the year finalist for a reason. And to be honest, if Miami want to let him go, I would be very happy to take him back in Atlanta. So I am on board with letting him go if he wants a one way ticket to Atlanta. So
This is the conversation where you use the points record. This is where you use a points record for your defense because that points record wasn't okay. Messi, go have fun. Alba, go have fun. Um, I'll make subs if you want me to. I don't really care. And then he sits back and puts his feet up, right? Messi out for as long as he was. Busquets hurt a little bit. Alba didn't play every game. Like I haven't mentioned Suarez in the last couple of rants that I've been on, but you know, there are like legitimate games that he had to get through without all of these star players, and he managed it really, really well. So much so that he was the best regular season team in history. And this was not playing San Jose twice a year, where they got to just beat up on San Jose, right? Not playing. There were some bad teams in the East, no doubt, but this is. I don't think that he made. Again, I agree. I don't think he made every correct decision, right? Not putting Gresso in the playoffs is criminal.
especially because it's against his former team. Like if anybody's going to know how to play against Atlanta, it's Gressel.
Yep. Listen, I was looking at transfer market before. The back lines, and we knew it too, is a nightmare, right? That back line, when you are pushing for games, cannot help you. So you had Thomas Avalos, who we knew was um, young, had pretty good potential, made some young kid mistakes, right? Then you had Nicholas Freire, who you brought in on loan, and he did I think he did his ACL. He was done for the year. You had Kristov, who he hurt something. He was out for the playoffs, to my understanding. And then Ian Frey, who did his meniscus again. So you're three players after Thomas Avalos out, right? Then you had David Martinez, who came in on loan after you lost Freire for the year and gave you a little bit of stability, but not as much depth, right? So when you get into those long series and stuff, that's going to be tougher for you. But over the course of the year, he had who's Marcelo Wygant? Not a clue at the beginning of the year. He was just starting right back for like 3 quarters of the year, right? Yes, he had Jordi Alba. Yes, he had Busquets and stuff like that. Yannick Bright. Look what he did with Yannick Bright, turning him into an everyday center mid for this team, right? David Ruiz was relatively solid. Redondo, again, young, but brought him into the fold of things. He took a bunch of these players. He lost Facundo Farias too, right? Somebody that we were all really excited to see. Lost him in 2 weeks. All of these players really, really excelled under him. And I don't think it's time for Tata to go until you can give him actual defensive reinforcements and support. Now, that being said, my assumption is that this offseason we're seeing Gerard Piqué, Sergio Ramos, Thiago Silva, maybe Carlos Puyol comes out of retirement and plays next to Messi next year. There will be magical rule changes where if you have an icon card or at least 85 rated at some point in your career on FIFA, you just get a free pass and get to play with Messi. I'm sure one of those things is coming relatively soon, but you have to imagine it's a point of emphasis next year. Now, if they go in and they get David Martinez full time, Avalos has another year under the belt, they go out and buy another really high level promising center back, and then he doesn't do well, sure, we can have this conversation, but I don't think this year is the year to do that.
Two things. One, well, that's all the stuff you were talking about PK and Puyol and all that stuff. That's why Tata Martino has to go because Xavi is available. So Xavi has to become the next head coach.
Is he?
Um, yeah, well, I mean, people are already clamoring for
Well,
him
I
to
know
become the
he is,
head
but
coach.
I thought he was under contract with somebody. I thought he signed in like Saudi Arabia, didn't he?
Well, then he'll terminate that. He'll come over to coach Messi and team. The second thing is the stuff you're talking about with like Yannick Bright and Weingart and that those things is a further reason why I do feel like this was a success or not sorry, this was not a failure of a season because all
We
people
really
talk
going
about when
back
it
to
comes
that.
hold on. All people talk about with Messi and Suarez and all them is once he leaves, this team is going to fall apart. Like it's just going to fall flat. But this season proved there's talent on this team beyond Messi and Suarez that can win and still be successful. And this was the season that proved it because it wasn't last year. Last year they without Messi they completely fell flat. The tail end of that regular season they were bad and they couldn't step up when they were missing their guys. This year was a completely different story because they were able to find talent through other people who once Messi moves on, whenever that is, there's still talent here and people that can win games and it proved it through this season and specifically the regular season. So again, not calling it a success, but I feel like that was a very good sign for Miami and Miami fans to see is that, once Messi, Suarez, Alba, Busquets all move on, the train isn't just going to completely fall off the rail.
I think that we can call it a failure and also not point at Tata Martino being like a complete failure. Like I think the season itself, based off of the bar that was set, is a failure. But I can agree with you that it also wasn't like it wasn't a failure to the point where you have to rebuild. I'm not trying to say
Obviously.
that, right? What I'm saying is it was a failure for the bar that they set. They missed their targets. They didn't perform well in key moments. But Tata Martino also doesn't need to go because he's building a base to make this team even better the next year. So I still think it's a failure, but I don't think it's you know fire the coach and sell off everybody and go from square one again. That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Well, I don't think we'll end up agreeing on this one, so
Never, not
we could just leave
once.
it at that. But the
Um,
show is better when we disagree, so it's a
I
good thing.
mean, yeah, I don't disagree with you there.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I know that's pretty
Now
good.
the show's ruined. Way to
Yeah,
go.
that's what I'm here for. So listen, what we can talk about this failure and they bounced to Atlanta and all this sort of stuff, but